1978, for somebody else in the previous century, 1978 to 1982. And every Monday we have Shaw Mountain repeats. We go out, we run a mile up, and then we come back down. And I look at our program later on, we're doing some similar stuff. Those of you who are parents, you may have said, hey, I'm not going to do this because my parents did this. And you have children, all of a sudden you realize I'm doing the same thing. Been there. I was doing the same thing, and we had this hill. It was about almost a mile long, 1,200 meters. And we'd have this hour-long workout. We'd warm up 15 minutes over there. We would get 3 or 4 repeats up this hill, and then we would run back. But we would run hard for 3 or 4 minutes, and then it would take us 10 minutes to come down. And we'd run hard for 3 or 4 minutes, and then we'd take 10 minutes to come down. And in the course of an hour and 15 minutes, we did 4 times 4 minutes. That's the work we got. Fast forward, started rubbing shoulders with Jerry Schumacher, started asking what he was doing with his athletes when he was at Wisconsin, what he does now. We replaced that with a rolling hills progression run. Much better preparation for an athlete. Ours is a 4-mile loop with some rolling hills on it. And you try to run initially. The guys will get by the end of the summer 2 loops of that. The girls about a loop and a half. And what it does is it has a hill and you're trying not to redline, but then you have to recover while you're moving. And then you've got another one. You've got to push, but don't cross that line and then recover while you're still moving. It sounds a lot like a cross-country course. Much better adaptation for us. Multiple purpose workouts, we'll talk about that in a second. Our long runs, we do our long runs on Saturday. Generally, we run 6 days a week. Some athletes will run a 7th day, some sort of low-key shakeout run. But our long runs have turned into multiple purpose workouts. I found that teenagers struggle with you're going to run 90 minutes, get a quality run in, stay focused. But if I break it down, and yesterday we had Coach Shelby was talking a similar kind of thing. Somewhere in that long run, we're going to do something. Maybe I look at the week, and we haven't do any progression runs. So the last 30 minutes of this 90-minute run, you're going to make it a progression run. Or if it's a freshman, the last 20 minutes of your 70-minute run, you're going to progressively get faster. We didn't do any threshold work. Okay, we're going to fit that in somewhere into that Saturday run. Rather than waiting, you get the benefits of both. So multiple purpose workouts have been significant. Aerobic engine workouts are the #1 priority. I was reinforced by hearing you can do them. It doesn't have to be 2 in 1 day, but putting significant amount of that aerobic engine building work, that threshold work, tempo work, lots of different phrases for it, is our #1 priority. In distance running, that's what we found really makes a difference. 9 different speeds, I already kind of alluded to that in multiple purpose. 2+ runs. This I picked up directly from my child. I asked him, what are 2+ workouts? He goes, what you're trying to do is, progression runs are like candy. They really are. Because you get to start shuffling, and by the end you're cooking. You're rolling. Yeah, I mean, you're rolling for the last 5 minutes, last 10 minutes, which is great. That's a feel-good workout. Cross-country races aren't a feel-good workout. They're just not. They're get uncomfortable and then deal with it. Sometimes I'll throw a chair out in front of them on the track and say, deal with it. But they know what I'm trying to say is you're trying to learn how to not get bored, not get distracted, and just learn to deal with it. So 2+ run. So what that means is you've got 2 miles to get to this given pace. We refer to it as, let's say, marathon pace. Maybe 50 seconds off of what you would run a 5K. And we don't do it for the first couple weeks of the summer, but pretty soon we're going to start doing it, probably the first week of July. And to start with, the ladies, you got 2+4, maybe 2+3, and the guys, you got 2+5. Okay? Just because of the amount of time that it takes. That's only, it's not that women aren't capable, it's just the duration, time that it takes to get those 5 miles. And just deal with it. inevitably what happens the first time they go out to do it? They go too fast. They're out there and they're running too fast early, and then they start fading off. Now, that's not what we wanted. Back off. My girls team will say, Coach, we can't do 2 + 6. I go, yes, you can. Can you run 8 miles? Yes. Then stop going so fast. Just don't go that fast. It's okay. Slow down a little bit, but just deal with it. The sub-statement of that is I'm getting distracted, I'm getting bored. It's hard. Okay. Again, I don't progress them too fast, but that's a skill that I was not teaching. I just wasn't. And I haven't found a better way to teach how to deal with that middle mile of a 3-mile race. It's just the dance hasn't started yet. But if you look at a typical high school 5,000-meter race, what is it? They go out too hard, they recover the second mile, and then they try to rally. I went out a 5-minute pace, I run a 5:20, and I try to rally. What I'm trying to tell them is we're preparing that by the time they go to rally, they won't be able to see us. Look at the splits at Nike Cross Nationals. Middle mile splits. Everybody's in a pack from about, maybe somebody's going crazy and running 4:40 or so, but there's 4:48 to 5 minutes is where the majority of everybody is. If you just run a 5-minute or better second mile, you will pass 40 people. Because people go from 4:50 to 5:12. How do you teach them to do that? This is one of the best ways I found. How to endure that middle part and just be uncomfortable. You're in a 7. It's not an 8, 9, 10. You just can't fall back to a 6 or a 5. Because when you fall back to a 6 or 5, you stay in the same place in the race. Some of you may have already taught your athletes this, but let me tell you this. I picked this one up. You're out in a cross-country race, and if you're running, I notice it. Do not tell your runners to run in the middle of the pack. Get to the side. I don't care which side it is, look at the course. Get to one side or the other. One, you'll find your teammates better. You'll be able to see them. And inevitably what happens, somewhere out around 800 meters, if they're to the side, they start moving through the pack and they aren't doing anything different. Because the whole pack does what? Slows down. And if they're on the side, they recognize that and they can move. Don't even have to increase their effort, they move forward. So if you haven't done that and you pick that up, that's worthwhile. Don't run in the middle, run to the side. You'll find your teammates and you move through the pack better.